We just got a major update from so many teams over at Call of Duty regarding some changes, fixes, and news just ahead of the Season 2 launch. This includes some bug fixes, updates on their anti-cheat system, and so much more. There's a lot of info to break down, so that's exactly what we're going to do in today's video. But before we do that, be sure to subscribe with notifications set to all so you never miss out on another upload. Alright, let's just get right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Ricochet Anti-Cheat updates, because this has really been a big topic in Black Ops 6. A lot of people have had issues with the amount of cheaters that have been present in this game, and people are really upset at the state of Call of Duty and its anti-cheat system. However, some people claim that they haven't experienced so many cheaters, but whatever it is, cheating has for sure been a problem in ranked mode, and that has affected both Warzone and multiplayer ranked modes. Ricochet has said that they understand that the cheating is definitely frustrating and has had a negative impact on the community, so they now have pushed out some new layers of security and protection against cheaters in the game, and there are going to be more updates to, as they say, protect the competitive integrity of Call of Duty. Firstly, they have updated detection models for behavioral systems like aimbotting and software, and they've also included account trust and hardware identifiers so that they can target people who are repeat offenders of cheating. There's definitely people who they'll make new accounts so that they can keep up their cheating behavior over and over, so Ricochet is working on targeting those types of people. Since the ranked play mode launched, they have confirmed that they've banned 136,000 accounts, which is insane, but it definitely fits what a lot of people have been talking about, and that is the fact that there are just a lot of cheaters in ranked, but hopefully some of these new changes will keep targeting these people because they definitely are making the gameplay experience boring for many players. They've also enhanced cross-examination tools that are focused on reducing the time it takes to take action against cheaters, so this means that they'll be rapidly targeting them compared to their previous times, which is great. The faster these cheating accounts do get taken down, obviously the better for everyone. They've also addressed spam reporting and the fact that they have new detection and warning systems. They said that malicious reporting is against their policies, and that if a user spam reports multiple times against a user, or a person uses an illegal cheat tool to spam thousands of reports at a time, their system will not consider more than one single report from a player versus another player. They also said that they have new detection and warning systems for players who repeatedly partied with cheaters, so when a cheater is banned, the system is going to detect accounts that regularly partied up with that known cheater account. They also addressed questions about things like IP-based banning, and they said that they don't use IP-based banning for anti-cheat because this actually can cause more problems for the game because it could affect entire groups of people who are completely innocent over one person. They cited, for instance, something like a college campus where people could be affected by an IP-based ban for no reason when the only perpetrator was basically just one person in that entire place. So that definitely makes sense. There's a lot of people that do use shared internet out there, and it would be just more detrimental to hit all those people for no reason with a ban. They also talked about an announcement made back in December regarding the kernel level driver for Season 2. So for Season 2, it is confirmed that there is a new and improved client and server-side detection system, and that they are going to push major updates to their kernel level driver, including improvements to the driver security and a reinforced encryption process, as well as a new detection system to counter tampering with their anti-cheat. For Season 3 and beyond, they confirmed that there will be new tech and a new system to authenticate real players and to counter cheaters. They said that they will not give more information on that yet until they reach Season 3 because they don't want cheat developers to get any hints on what changes are coming to their systems. They addressed the servers as well as packet loss, lobby crashing, things like that, and they discussed how they've seen lots of reports about these sorts of problems recently, especially in ranked play and in areas where players may not have access to a lot of servers like some other players might. Since Activision does have a limited number of servers set up around the world, some people are just closer to more servers than others. They said that they have been monitoring activity across the matches closely and have identified suspicious accounts that are appearing in multiple crashed lobbies. The team over at Demonware did narrow down specific causes of these issues that can affect players, and some new improvements have been made to the server infrastructure this week so that they can reduce targeted cases of this sort of malicious activity. The way I interpret this is basically that they are kind of confirming that some of these lobby crash issues have been as a result of cheaters, which is actually pretty wild. They did say though that this is an issue across the industry, but that they are committed to taking this sort of activity down. They definitely need to work on their anti-cheat, so hopefully these things are actually going to push Call of Duty in a direction where it's not getting overrun by these sorts of people. They did say though that they have seen stability improvements on their back end, and they've added these to Black Ops 6 and Warzone, but that there isn't really a singular full sweep solution for this entire problem. However, they say that there have been definitely some positive results. They also worked on server issues in regions that are experiencing instability and are going to keep working more to resolve these as they come up. Now, another thing they addressed was the issue with voice chat. So there's been a lot of people online talking about getting random voice chat bans for no reason, or after saying some light stuff, nothing too extreme, swearing, stuff like that, just general trash talk. Now in 2023, Call of Duty introduced a new in-game voice chat moderation system, and they did that in order to prevent player exposure to hate speech and harassment, and they do believe though that players should have the freedom to trash talk. So what they're doing is working with their moderation team so that they can ensure that the only conversations that are targeted are ones that are genuinely derogatory and not just general gameplay talk. Their teams are going to be monitoring the system, and they said that they do employ tuning sessions with people that run them to ensure that the system actually targets the right stuff and not just any random talk that happens throughout a game. There's going to be a report later this year where they are going to discuss the results for this moderation. Alright, now aside from the anti-cheat, there's some new updates coming to Black Ops 6 from Treyarch, and this includes a lot on top of the planned Season 2 stuff, but basically there's going to be a challenge tracker coming to Black Ops 6, which we did discuss in the recent Zombies update video if you want to learn more about some of those things, but this included a new separate HUD preset for Zombies and multiplayer. The challenge tracker is going to let you track 10 challenges manually, or it's going to pick your 10 closest to completion if you don't actually specifically set anything. They've also worked on reduced collision with teammates to improve maneuverability around tight spaces and doorways. This has definitely been an issue in Stakeout, for instance, where people are just getting stuck at spawn points, so that's a good change to see. For multiplayer, they discussed some gameplay and quality of life changes that are coming, including bullet penetration updates, weapon balancing. They've also worked on further reducing weapon motion when jumping, sliding, and diving. While you have the dexterity perk equipped, they're going to improve player visibility and kill confirmed by reducing the height of the dog tags that are being dropped. They also will be simplifying and expanding requirements for some of the prestige calling card challenges. Later in Season 2, they're going to add an icon over an opponent's head when they have the war cry active so that you know that that player has a faster health regeneration when you're in a gunfight with them. They said that this is to clear up confusion in any gunfight if you don't know why an enemy was able to survive. For playlists, they're going to be expanding the number of featured playlist slots on the screen, and they're also going to be bringing back gunfight to the featured playlist. This was definitely one that people were asking for a lot. There will also be Stakeout 24/7 constantly. It's either going to be in the featured playlists and or quick play, so if it's not in the featured playlist, check quick play. There's also going to be a small maps mosh pit that they're going to launch shortly after Season 2, and it's going to be included for people who are trying to specifically grind camos. I'm assuming this is probably going to include things like racket and Stakeout and things like that. Regarding bugs, they're working on some fixes, so they did say that Gearhead will properly increase the charge rate of field upgrades, free-for-all will accurately calculate the scoreboard by kills, and the winner's circle will accurately showcase the top 3 free-for-all players. Free-for-all was a mode that was definitely bugged out throughout Season 1. There's been a lot of people talking about it online, so this is a good change for sure. Ninja will no longer be able to reset between respawns or round transitions in some game modes. They've also added some fixes and tuning updates for a large number of calling card challenges. For ranked play, now this is a big one because a lot of people have been annoyed at the state of ranked play in this game, and so they're going to be adding a toggle to ranked play so that you can disable crossplay as a console player if you do not want to compete against PC players. Treyarch said that this is currently being tested and is planning to go live for Black Ops 6 and Warzone ranked in Season 2, but that they will be closely monitoring this change in case it needs any fixes. So it looks like what they're kind of doing with this change is that they can't really stop all the cheaters, and even as a PC player myself, I acknowledge that most of the cheating issue does come from PC players. I know console has the Cronus Zen, but it's not nearly the same as stuff like wall hacks and all these things that a lot of PC players do download to this game. So I guess that maybe this is going to hurt PC players, but if you're on console, this is probably really good news for you if you've been suffering a lot in ranked due to cheaters. The vote to forfeit feature will be coming at the launch of Season 2, and this is going to allow players to vote to leave with their team if they've lost a teammate or their team is basically being torn apart. Forfeited matches do not make you lose SR, so that's one way that you can avoid that sort of penalty. I know a lot of people out there would definitely prefer to, forfeit a match rather than just straight up lose. In Season 2, there's going to be some more ranked rewards like camos for gold rank and up, a Jackal PDW blueprint for 10 wins, and after 100 wins, you should be getting a large decal. There's also going to be the ability to rejoin ranked play matches, and this is going to be live later in Season 2 in order to ensure that there are fuller teams in matches if a player gets disconnected for whatever particular reason. I talked about the updates for Zombies in a previous video, so I'll just include the info that they added to this community update as a sort of brief recap, but for the more in-depth info, definitely watch that other video. But basically, there's a new map coming to Black Ops 6 Zombies called The Tomb, which is going to launch with Season 2 immediately and is going to be more in line with Liberty Falls. There's also going to be the ability to pause everyone's game in co-op if you're in a party with people, and if a player is kicked for going AFK in a co-op game, they'll have their loadout, essence, and salvage restored when they rejoin. Okay, with all of that aside, we have some big updates coming coming to Warzone as well. Now, Warzone has been in a bit of a rough state lately, and a lot of people are really starting to notice with all the cheaters and issues in the servers, but Raven Software did address this in the community update. So they've announced that they are prioritizing focus on gameplay tuning, adding more quality of life, and addressing any bugs that are ongoing in Warzone. So they have shifted some new content originally coming to Season 2 so that they can address these major issues in the base game of Warzone first, and then they're going to do all of these content updates later. They said that these improvements will be staggered across the season, and some quality of life changes are for sure coming mid-season, but that these changes will take place at some point in Season 2. For gameplay and quality of life, they address some things like the weapons. So for all weapons, reload speeds will be faster anywhere from 5 to 20% depending on the weapon class. There's also going to be a reduced penalty when sprint to fire jumping from 35 to 10%, and increased jump ADS speeds by 25% so that they can find a middle ground to pull off jump shots without it being some sort of meta movement strategy according to the team. They will adjust bullet penetration across most materials, resulting in a more consistent experience, especially regarding walls that are thicker. Weapon swap speed is going to be increased by 10% to replicate the effect of the quick grip gloves perk from Modern Warfare. They've also removed burst and semi-auto rifles and low rarity pistols from ground loot. In terms of movement, jump speed and successive jump height with one unmodified successive jump, those have been increased. They increased the speed of the parachute cut animation to make cutting a parachute and readying your weapon a lot faster. They've also increased player velocity from when you land after cutting a parachute for a smoother transition into a full sprint. For audio, they've reduced reverb effects to improve the directionality of audio produced by other players, such as, footsteps, which is great because that was an issue I personally noticed in Warzone. When I played it a few times, I couldn't really tell which direction people were coming at me from. For perks, Combat Scout pings have been replaced with an outline that isn't visible through walls. They've also added new default perks like Dexterity, but specifically the weapon component of it. Mountaineer is now a perk in slot 1 to replace Dexterity, and they've increased fall damage reduction, and Veteran now significantly reduces the damage ticks of gas grenades. Equipment and kill streaks also got some changes, so the munition satchel now only provides one additional item, down from 2 to address overstocking and spamming equipment. They've also reduced the maximum deployed tacticals and lethals to 2 each instead of 3 to make more purposeful trap plays. They've also reduced the gas grenade radius duration and movement penalties. Spy cameras outlines will no longer render through walls, and advanced UAVs will now show elevation arrows. I know the spy camera was considered like some overpowered thing because you could see basically through walls, but they have changed that. Some other changes include the body shields functionality, so you'll no longer release players in free fall and there will not be an outline of the victim's teammates through walls. They've also removed manual release of players, so in order to end the body shield thing, you have to use an execution. The flares that fire out of a buy station when a player is brought back can be pinged to increase visibility when redeployed. The match stat tracker font has been adjusted as well, so you can read at a lower resolution better. So in regards to bug fixes in Warzone, a lot of people do follow COD updates and the Trello that Call of Duty uses to basically show what they're going to be working on, what they are working on, what issues they're investigating, things like that. The thing is though, what they said is that these don't really represent the full scope of everything happening behind the scenes in the company, and that they're not actually explaining every single thing that they're fixing all at once in these sorts of updates, and that there's a lot of things that they are fixing that they don't talk about, and there are things that they are fixing that they do talk about. But the thing is, what happens is that they have a prioritization sort of ranking of these fixes, and so if something new and more urgent comes up, they may not address those things that you're seeing in COD updates or Trello, and you might be wondering, oh, why haven't they fixed that? Maybe because there's something just more pressing at the moment that they need to address. So that's what they were kind of trying to clarify. However, though, they are encouraging that players keep giving feedback and pointing out issues so that they can address them, investigate them, and look into what's going on. So definitely some good communication there. There's going to be some fixes when Season 2 launches that includes addressing visibility of dark areas and characters on Rebirth Island. They're going to address players being forced to stand up while reviving downed teammates. They've also addressed exploits that allow players to access unintended areas of the map. They've also addressed the parachutes deploying when jumping off of ladders. For weapons and equipment, they fixed weapons becoming inaccessible near interactable areas, as well as weapons falling through the buy station models, and weapon tooltips appearing as common when dropped to the ground. The perks and contracts, they have addressed ghost persisting through the pre-match lobby and into the match, as well as cold-blooded not properly countering tracker. They worked on the quick fix health regen not properly activating while you're adding plates, and they've also worked on survivor preventing players from reviving their down squad members. They also addressed the most wanted contracts not overriding respawn timers as in. They've also gotten a fix for the operator selection appearance issues in the menu. I actually had some issues with this one in particular, so I'm glad that they're going to be patching this, because I always would be like, did I actually select the right operator or not? So I'm happy with this change for sure. Sometimes you get the default operator for some reason, even if you've selected like 5 times, the actual operator that you want to use. Other times it would select a completely different different operators, so that was definitely a weird problem, but you know, looks like I wasn't the only one who was having that issue. In ranked Warzone, they've added a refinement to the amount of SR required and adjustments to deployment fees. They did mention that Black Ops 6's integration in Warzone has been the biggest so far in Call of Duty, and that this has brought a lot of teams working together that previously didn't really interact much, but that this comes with some obstacles. But at the same time, they said that this is basically laying a foundation to make new technology immediately available to all studios at Activision and to improve development and stability and allow them to focus more on future releases as well. The way I'm interpreting that message in particular is it looks like maybe they don't want to have to do a whole other Warzone 1 to Warzone 2 situation again. So it looks like from here on out, whatever we're getting in Warzone 2 is basically like every other Call of Duty from here until maybe a while is probably going to be integrated into the current Warzone. So it looks like what they've done with Black Ops 6 is a lot more changes than they have done in the past. And I know that that comes with obviously its own host of issues, but it looks like what this is doing is ensuring that they have a way to integrate things from now on by working together in the teams so that they can actually do this in the future Call of Duty titles. Because I know that there's going to be more movement changes and things like that. So it looks like they're trying to do something kind of major behind the scenes. So that might be why some things aren't being addressed. Kind of interesting. Season 2 launches on January 28, as we've known for some time, and this is a pretty major update. There's a lot of fixes and changes that they've announced, and I've personally been happy with all this communication as of late in Black Ops 6 and Call of Duty in general. I think that they were lacking a little bit early on, but these changes do spell, in my opinion, positive things in Call of Duty. I hope that we keep seeing these sorts of updates in the future and that we get a lot of good communication so that we know that our complaints and issues are being addressed. I honestly hope that the anti-cheat fixes really do kick in well, because the cheating issue has been affecting so many people, so I'm hoping that with these updates they're pushing into Ricochet, that the system is going to do its job properly and not backfire or miss actual cheaters. So I'll wrap things up there, but with that being said, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications set to all so you can stay up to date with all the latest videos. Share this video and comment below how you feel about the major update announcement from Call of Duty that we just got, and that's all for today, folks.
Experience.